Throwing open all the curtains wide. Not gonna miss a thing. Nothing's promised to you in this life, but it's there for us to take. So live well, be bold, be brave. We lay in the daylight under the old oak tree. It's simple, beautiful, it's all we need. Chasing the wonder endlessly, further into the unknown. There's no doubt, so no regret. Happy before we get another day to do it all again. Oh, we're throwing open all the curtains wide. Not gonna miss a thing. Nothing's promised to you in this life, but it's there for us to take. So live well, be bold, be brave. Let in the sun. You don't know what you got till it's gone. Oh, let in the sun. All of the best yet to come. Oh, let in the sun. Don't know what you got till it's gone. Oh, let in the sun. All of the best yet to come. We're throwing open all the curtains wide. Not gonna miss a thing. Nothing's promised to you in this life, but it's there for us to take. So live well, be bold, be brave.
Welcome to the locker room. I'm Nancy, and it is 3:03 in the afternoon. I'm sorry, I was a little bit late. I was actually eating supper, and I looked up, and it was like 2:59, and I'm like, oh no! Do I have spaghetti sauce on my face? I made cheese ravioli and put it in red sauce, and oh yeah, yum. Okay, so today we are going to talk about Taylor Schabusiness. Mutant City Comics is live. If anybody follows Mutant City Comics, which I don't, I've never heard of them, they are live, and for $1, you can join in their chat. I don't charge, but I do appreciate any tips or whatever if somebody wants it. And if you consider subscribing to the channel, and my membership is 99 cents. I think it might be $1.99. I'm not sure. It's the lowest one there is. And that's all it is per month. So, yeah. Anyway, so today we're going to talk about Taylor Schabusiness. I put up an image of her on the thumbnail. So let's get into the story. I already did the fair use disclaimer in my intro, and excuse me, um, I'll remind you there may be trigger warnings. Okay. Taylor Schabusiness, born Taylor Coronado, is an American woman convicted of the 2022 red rum and dismemberment of her lover, Shad Thyrion, in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Prior to the red rum, she had a criminal history, including a January 2022 conviction for fleeing, eluding, and obstructing police, for which she was sentenced to 3 months. She had reportedly removed a GPS ankle tracker around that time. Raisin. I know my daughter, my youngest daughter, had one of those one time when she turned 18. They came and took it off of her the day she turned 18. And yeah, she could go out in the front yard, and she liked to climb up in this tree. The tree's no longer there, but she liked to climb up in this tree. And if she'd go up, like there's one branch, that if she went up to that branch, her ankle monitor would start going off. And she enjoyed going up to that branch. Oh, my wrist came unbuttoned there. So on February 21, 2022, Schabusiness picked up Thyrion, a 24-year-old man from his mother's home. The two were in a relationship, consumed rugs before engaging in intercourse in the basement of the home. During the encounter, she put a metal chain around his neck as part of a erotic asphyxiation, continuing until he was unalived, which she later stated took 3 to 5 minutes and was motivated by gratification. After his unaliving, she performed acts on the body for several hours before dismembering him with knives, placing parts in bags, boxes, a bucket, and a storage tote. Thyrian's severed head and other remains were discovered by his mother, Tyra Pakinich, on February 23, 2022, leading to a police investigation. Additional body parts were found in Schabusiness's minivan. She was arrested that day with red sauce on her clothes and injuries she claimed were self-inflicted. She was charged with first-degree intentional homicide, mutilating a corpse, and third-degree assault. Her trial began after she entered a not guilty by reason of insanity plea in September 2022. During a February 2023 hearing, she attacked her attorney, Quinn Jolly, in court, leading to his replacement in July of 2023. A jury convicted her on all charges. On September 26, 2023, Judge Thomas Walsh sentenced her to life imprisonment without parole, plus an additional 10 and a half years, citing the need to protect the public and the offense to human decency. Thyrian's father publicly forgave her during sentencing. Her appeal of the homicide conviction was dismissed by the Court of Appeals in June 2025. Schabusiness is serving her sentence in Techita Correctional Institute in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, in a separate incident last year while in a medical room at the prison. She lunged at a nurse and then swung a small metal table at an intervening sergeant, who subdued her with pepper spray and required hospital treatment. She was originally charged with felony battery by a prisoner enhanced as a repeat offender, carrying up to 6 years. But on October 8, 2025, she accepted a plea deal, pleading no contest to a reduced misdemeanor charge of disorderly conduct. This avoided a 3-day trial, and her sentence for the misdemeanor is set for December 1st, 2025. The case has drawn significant media attention, including documentaries, jail call releases, and true crime coverage on platforms like YouTube. Taylor Schabusiness enters a plea of not guilty by reason of mental disease or defect, Wisconsin's equivalent of insanity plea. On September 1st, 2022, submitted by her then attorney, Quinn Jolly, this plea asserted that she suffered from a mental condition that prevented her from appreciating the wrongfulness of her actions and conforming her conduct to the law at the time of the February 2022 red rum and dismemberment of Shab Thyrian. Her trial was bifurcated under Wisconsin law. I don't know what that means. I think it means presented or something like that. I'm sorry if I'm wrong. The first phase determined guilt or innocent, and the second phase, if guilty, addressed the mental disease or defect claim. She was convicted in the first phase on July 26, 2023, of first-degree intentional homicide, mutilating a corpse, and third-degree assault after about 1 hour of deliberation. The insanity plea followed immediately on July 27, 2023, with the same summary. The defense, before the burden of proof to show by a preponderance of evidence that Schabusiness had a mental disease or defect affecting her ability to know right from wrong or control her behavior during the crimes. Prosecutors countered by presenting over an hour of her police interview video where she admitted to angling Thyrian with a chain, dismembering him to avoid detection, and performing necrophiliac acts, while also noting her cell phone searches related to Jeffrey Dahmer, whom she claimed to admire. Key testimony arguments. Defense expert psychologist Diane Lighton, independent psychologist from Oshkosh, hired by the defense. Lighton evaluated Schabusiness multiple times in jail during 2022 and 2023. She testified that Schabusiness exhibited off-the-scale psychotic symptoms, describing her as a psychotic person in a psychotic manic state, potentially stemming from undiagnosed bipolar disorder. This was supported by Schabusiness's medical history, including prior hospitalizations, mental health medications in 2021, civil commitment for mental illness, trauma from her mother's unaliving in elementary school, and long-term substance abuse, daily Mary Jane since middle school, and other drugs as an adult. Lighton noticed an incident where Schabusiness threw a plastic chair at her during an evaluation and referenced Schabusiness's delusional claim of having a thing with Jeffrey Dahmer a year ago, despite Dahmer's death in 1994. The defense argued this constituted a severe mental disorder that impaired her judgment and control at the time of the offense, calling the case very exceptional based on Lynott's 32 years of experience. Persecution experts, psychologist Christina Engin, I guess, court-appointed, and other unnamed psychologists. Engin testified that Schabusiness endorsed a bunch of symptoms that people with genuine mental illness would not endorse, and stated she was not aware of any time where Miss Schabusiness displayed psychotic symptoms. While acknowledging polysubstance abuse, Engin and others argued that irregular intoxication from illegal drugs does not qualify as a mental disease or defect under the law. Persecutors emphasized that Schabusiness's actions showed awareness, citing her interview statement, "I knew I was unaliving him, but I did it anyway," because that's what she wanted. They dismissed the defense focus on her broader history as irrelevant, arguing no evidence proved impaired specifically during the February 2022 crimes. Schabusiness waived her right to testify in the insanity phase. No other non-expert witness, such as family members, are detailed in the available accounts, though some media noted her father's prior commitments or comments on her mental health in related coverage. In closing arguments, defense attorney Christopher Friolish framed it as a battle of the experts, urging the jury to credit Lynette's findings to severe psychosis. Assistant District Attorney Caleb Saunders countered that the defense failed to meet its burden, stressing that the bizarre nature of the crimes alone does not prove insanity, and that Schabusiness acted with the intent and awareness. The outcome: the jury unanimously rejected the insanity claim after deliberations on July 27, 2023, finding Schabusiness did not suffer from a mental disease or defect at the time of the offense. She remained emotionless during the verdict reading. This meant she would serve her sentence in prison rather than a secure mental health facility. On September 26, 2023, Judge Thomas Walsh sentenced her to life without parole for the homicide, plus consecutive terms totaling 10.5 years for the other charges, citing the need to protect the public and the offense's depravity. Okay, now if we go back up here, I already had it marked which one I wanted to use. There we go. All right. Wisconsin versus Taylor Schabusiness. Okay. So down here to the bottom, this is her hearing. First, we have commercial. See how they're bringing her in that Jerry chair and she is strapped to that chair? That is because she is violent.
This stupid fucking chair. Oh my god. Oh no. Maybe I did a good job getting that fucking deal.
Do I need to go tell them we're ready?
They already made it.
We did? Okay, thank you. I'm sorry. I can do that.
Please be seated.
This is only like a little over 9 minutes, so hopefully they'll get on with it very soon.
The court will call 24 CF 1048, State of Wisconsin versus Taylor Schabusiness. Appearances.
The state appears by Assistant District Attorney Tessa Button.
Your Honor, good morning. Attorney Christopher T. Furlick appears today in person with the defendant, Taylor D. Schabusiness.
All right, this matter is set for a status conference. Mr. Freilich, what is the status?
Your Honor, I've talked with the district attorney's office. I've conferred with my client. I've reviewed the case. Ms. Schabusiness has decided that she wishes to enter into a plea agreement with the state. She will tender a plea to an amended charge of disorderly conduct as a misdemeanor offense. I have reviewed the plea questionnaire waiver of rights form carefully with my client. We've gone over all of her constitutional rights. We've had a chance to also talk on the phone. And we've reviewed the elements for this offense. Both of us have signed the form and I have it available for the court.
All right. Thank you.
She's just got that look on her face, so she's just like angry. Look at that. She's just like angry. Angry, angry.
Thank you. Ms. Schabusiness, I've received a plea questionnaire waiver rights form. It would indicate that you're going to plead no contest to an amended count of disorderly conduct, and then both sides would be free to argue that sentence. Is that your understanding of the agreement?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay. This form indicates that you are 27 years old. You completed 12 years of schooling. You do have a high school diploma, GED, or HSCD. You understand the English language, and you understand the charges that you're pleading to, the disorderly conduct, what the state would have to show to find you guilty of that count is that you engage in violent, abusive, indecent, profane, boisterous, unreasonably loud, or otherwise disorderly conduct, which, under the circumstances as they then existed, tended to cause or provoke a disturbance. Is that your understanding?
Yeah.
You understand that the maximum penalty on this is 90 days in jail or a $1,000 fine or both, correct? Yes. And you understand that the court is not bound by any agreement between the parties, and I could sentence you up to that maximum.
These look like regular glasses, but what they do is on another level. Don't risk straining your eyes or wasting money.
Yeah,
Still want to proceed?
yeah,
Yes. Has anybody made any threats or promises to get you to change your plea today?
nah,
You're doing so after speaking with your attorney?
I'm good. Yeah, we going straight. We doing it. We doing the plea.
Okay, you want to do the plea, right? And you're doing so after discussing it with your attorney, correct?
Yeah,
Okay. This form further indicates that you are not currently receiving treatment for mental illness, mental disorder, and you have not had any drugs, alcohol, or medication in the past 24 hours. Is that all correct?
oh yeah, that's right.
Yes. The next section are your constitutional rights. Those rights are found here on the plea questionnaire. These boxes are checked. May I presume that you've read these or had them read to you by your attorney, and that you're freely, voluntarily, and intelligently waiving these constitutional rights and entering your not guilty plea, or I'm sorry, your no contest plea? Is that right?
I'm doing that.
You're doing that? Okay. You understand that those rights include but are not limited to your right to a trial, your right to remain silent, your right to testify at your trial, your right to a jury trial. All those rights you're giving up by entering a plea, correct?
Right.
Right? Okay. Mr. Freilich, you went over this form with Ms. Schabusiness and answered all her questions.
Yes, I have very carefully, Your Honor.
Do you believe that she is freely, voluntarily, and intelligently changing her plea today?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Do you believe that there's a factual basis for her plea?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
May I use the criminal complaint to find that factual basis?
Your Honor, yes, you may.
And how many offers total did you receive in this matter?
One.
And you conveyed it to Ms. Schabusiness and she's chosen to accept it?
Yes, I sent it to her by letter. I talked with her about it on the telephone, and we also talked in person today.
All right. Ms. Schabusiness, you've heard what your attorney had to say, correct?
Yeah,
Do you agree with him?
yeah.
Do you believe that you are freely, voluntarily, and intelligently changing your plea today?
Yeah, I'm going in with the plea because that's what I put my initials down on.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm
And
doing.
and do you have any questions of Mr. Freilich?
Never.
Never. And you agree that there's a factual basis to your plea, correct? To the disorderly conduct plea?
Yeah, violent behavior.
All right. Ms. Button, you're moving to amend count 1 from battery by a prisoner to disorderly conduct?
Yes, Your Honor, and we are in victim rights compliance. I have spoken with the victim in this matter, and she's in support of the resolution. She does have some feedback for sentencing, but I can save that for later.
All right. That motion is granted. So, Ms. Schabusiness, what is your plea to the amended count disorderly conduct?
Hey, no contest. We ain't doing no contest.
No contest? Ms. Schabusiness, I accept your plea. I find that it's been freely, voluntarily, and intelligently made. I find that there is a factual base for your plea. I accept it, find you guilty, and enter judgment. Now, Ms. Button, you're asking that this be set for a later sentencing date. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor, I have a copy of the video that I plan to file for the court ahead of time.
Mr. Freilich, what's your position on that?
Your Honor, Assistant District Attorney Button and I, we talked about this, that we would maybe do this case in 2 parts if the court was okay with it. I'm fine with having the sentencing hearing on a different day. I also talked with my client, and she's fine with that as well.
This is different from any of them that we've heard before, isn't it? The way it's just done differently.
And you would want Ms. Schabusiness in court? Is
Yes.
that-
Yes, please.
All right, the court will reset this. How much time do you think you need, Ms. Button?
Not long, Your Honor, I can file it today.
Your Honor, do you mean for the hearing?
For time to prepare for the hearing and the hearing?
I think 45 minutes maybe for the hearing, just to be safe. Maybe 30 days.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we? Can we do the afternoon of December 1st?
Yes, I'm wide open.
All right. Can we do 1:30?
Perfect.
1:30, Ms. Button?
That's fine.
All right, we'll reset it for sentencing on December 1st at 1:30.
Thank you very much.
Case adjourned.
Okay,
All right.
so she's gonna go back to court September 1st or December 1st. So that is as far as is what we know so far. But okay, this is where she pleaded no contest and sentences for December 1st. Okay, so this was 4 months ago. Boy, she's giving him dirty looks, isn't she? Oh, did I not put it up? Let's back it up so you can see what was going on. I'm sorry.
So the last time we were in court, we were scheduled for a preliminary hearing. At the preliminary hearing, there was an outburst by Ms. Schabusiness. At that point, she was tackled to the floor and she was removed from court.
Today, my client is in a chair with wheels. Her legs are strapped, her waist is strapped, and she's got handcuffs on. I would ask respectfully to the court, at future hearings, I'd ask that she not be shackled. I have a relationship with her. I've represented her before. I think we have a good relationship, and I'd ask that you consider my request for her not to be shackled.
Did you see her look at him? Man, if daggers was in her eyes, they'd be in his chest right now. I'm telling you.
During the trial or any future proceedings.
I used to come back from vacations with blurry photos of landmarks, wildlife, even my own kids at sports games. Now, every shot looks like it was taken with professional gear, thanks to this tiny smartphone telescope attachment. If you're
So the last time we were in court.
Could the behavior of infamous inmate Taylor Schabusiness tip the scale? She was convicted in the gruesome murder of her boyfriend, Shad Therian. Now she's going to go on trial again, accused of assaulting a jail guard. She was wheeled into court Tuesday, strapped in because of all of her previous outbursts. Well, now her attorney wants her unshackled at future court dates.
I would ask respectfully to the court, at future hearings, I'd ask that she not be shackled. I have a relationship with her. I've represented her before. I think we have a good relationship, and I'd ask that you consider my request for her not to be shackled during the trial or any future proceedings.
So should she be shackled? Let's bring in one of America's favorite judges, the Honorable Larry Seidlin. He presided over Anna Nicole Smith's body custody case. Judge, great to see you. What should be done with Ms. Schabusiness here?
Well, Hollywood's looking to recruit her as Mrs. Hannibal Lecter. I mean, shackled. I'd put her in a cage. I'd put her in with lions. Her last lover.
That looks like a big thumbprint. You can't see it, but I mean right over his shoulder. Can you see? You can't see me at all. So yeah, it looks like a big thumbprint right over his shoulder.
She cut off his penis at his head. I mean, this woman is completely whacked out. what I question is, why do we even want to charge her with battery or aggravated battery? Because she's facing life imprisonment with no right to parole. I'd keep this nut in the jail and let them administratively penalize her. They can impose certain penalties upon her in the jail. Why bring her out for aggravated battery? It's crazy. I used to be the sheriff's legal advisor way back. I wouldn't charge her with anything. Leave the nut alone. Let her stay in the cage. That's it.
Isn't she absolutely beautiful? Don't you want to break bread with her at your kitchen table on Sunday after church? It does say in the Bible that we are supposed to honor our fellow persons. Okay?
Judge, I love what you're saying. Brilliant. Preach, preach, preach. Yeah, you know, so it's really up to the state here. They could just drop this, like you said, and just leave it alone. But if they're intent on going forward, and as of yesterday they were, hopefully they'll listen to you and just leave her there and move forward. If they're intent on moving forward, what should the judge in this one do? Should he allow her to be unshackled at any point in these proceedings before the jury?
I watched the videos of her. She attacked 2 lawyers in the past. She needs heavy medication. If I was the judge, I would demand the presence of the state attorney, the top prosecutor in the community, and say, why are we charging her? Why are we putting everybody's life at risk? And also the jail people. I'd say, okay, administratively penalize her. I would have her shackled. I wouldn't even bring her into a courtroom. I'd keep her in a cage somewhere in the jail. She doesn't have a right to be in that courtroom because she's proven she's a danger to the community and to everyone around her.
You're so right, Judge. I agree with everything you said. We love you so much, and we love having you on the show. So let's just say that no one is willing to listen to reason here, and everybody's moving forward, and we're having a...
They were kind of referencing her to, who is that, Hannibal Lecter in Silence of the Lambs? I don't know. I don't think I saw that movie. I guess it's one of them I'm going to need to go watch. I've heard about it, and I've heard it referenced in several... My button's unbuttoned. I'm trying to button my button back. I've heard it referenced before.
Trial with Ms. Schabusiness. What kind of security would you put into place in the courtroom?
I would have... as many officers as the sheriff's department can lend me during the trial. I mean, I've been threatened before. I used to, when I felt a little bit paranoid, I'd put a gun on my ankle and say, at least I got one last shot. Security should be tight. It's a waste of the taxpayers' money. But if he has to have a trial, you must make that place like Fort Knox, secure.
You're so right. Judge Larry Seidlin, how I wish I could have practiced before you. You are tremendous. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to come on the show.
Okay.
Adobe Lightroom can enhance your dog's party photo. Easily remove any distraction in just a touch.
Michigan and...
Hold up. I'll put it up on... Oh, it is up on screen. Ha, 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 ha. Hot dog. I didn't even have to do that one.
Head to Wisconsin. This happened moments ago. We're not allowed to do live broadcasting, but Taylor Schabusiness in court. Watch what happens.
All right, the court will call 24 CF 1048 State of Wisconsin versus Taylor Schabusiness. Appearances.
Gordon Leach for the state. Taylor Schabusiness is personally present. She is in custody with Attorney Curtis Jelka.
All right, this matter is set for a preliminary hearing today. Mr. Jelka, what's the status?
Your Honor, my understanding is we are proceeding.
All right. Mr. Leach.
Your Honor, I'm just checking in on the status of my officer. I expected her to be here, but I'm also having connectivity problems here. I might need to run upstairs and see if she may be upstairs. If I can have her.
Sure.
And Judge, it sounds like just one witness. We're asking for sequestration, but that may be a moot point.
All right.
It is one witness, Your Honor.
Drop the record.
He didn't even flinch. The attorney did not even flinch. He just, oh well.
Okay, boy, that didn't take long, and they were on her in a heartbeat. They knew exactly what they were up against with Taylor Schabusiness. She's done this before. This is a new defense attorney, and she went after him. Joe Tamburino watching along with us. I guess we shouldn't be surprised, given her past history. What your thoughts?
Well, a few things. Number one, we should not be surprised. Number two, notice she looks at the camera first and then she attacks him. She's just sitting there and everything like that. She looked at him a couple of times, but after the camera goes back to the defense attorney as he's saying something, she clearly looks at the camera first, then attacks him. This is all a show. And next, she has put herself in a position where the court would be well within their right and authority to remove her from the courtroom, that she would be seeing this trial and participating as she can from her cell with a video feed. That's what I would do if I were the judge. Yeah. She's been given enough tries in court. So, I don't think that would ever be overturned on appeal based on her track history. She would be removed from the courtroom. You do a live feed. Yes, I'm sure there's some group that would try to appeal that while the trial's going on. But, based on her actions, I don't see any other alternative.
Yeah, I mean, for everybody's safety, including hers. That first deputy, he should be playing linebacker for the Green Bay Packers. He was like, boom, right? She didn't get not even close. I mean, he was right there and put her down. You make a great point. I mean, it's ridiculous, in my opinion. I don't know what they're doing here with this. She attacked a prison guard. Now you're going to prosecute her and go through the entire scenario. She's serving a life without parole sentence. There's no upside to it. And this, every time she comes into court, something happens. So eliminate the problem.
That's exactly right. I mean, a judge does have that power. It is used very, very rarely because a defendant, all defendants, all individuals have a right to confront their accusers. They have a right to be right in court looking at the witnesses against them, right in court looking at the jury. They have a right of due process. However, all rights can be forfeited at some point, and at this point, based on her actions, clearly over the years, she could be forfeiting this, and the judge would be well within his authority to say, that's it, you're going to stay in the jail cell, we'll give you a video feed, you can sure communicate in a private line with your attorney, but you're not going to be in the courtroom.
I love the defense attorney's reaction after the takedown. He does the old, what are you going to do about it?
So there she is showing herself out, This is the prison guard attack.
Jermaine struggled for years with dental issues before finally finding Nuvia. Listen to what he wanted most after his smile makeover.
Ms. Schabusiness is now down in the jail. She's appearing by Zoom from the jail. The last time we were in court, there was a commotion. She yelled, stood up. She was then physically detained. moved out of the court and moved down to the jail. It appeared, I didn't see exactly what happened with it. It appeared that she had tried to get at it or turn. And so the court does now find that Ms. Schabusiness is waived her right to be present given the outburst. Are we prepared to proceed with the preliminary hearing?
Yes, Your Honor.
Your Honor, I'm requesting to withdraw at this point in time.
Your request is denied. For this hearing, State versus Case 175 was second one. We can continue for this hearing, and then you can withdraw from there.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor. The state does call Detective Milan.
Do solemnly swear that the testimony you shall give in this matter before the court is truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Ms. Milan, if you want to state your name and spell your last name, I'm sorry, Detective Milan. If you want to state your name and spell your last name for the record.
Christina Milan. Christina is with a K. Milan is M-E-I-L-A-H-N.
Mr. Leach,
Detective Milan, where do you work?
I'm a detective with the City of Fond du Lac Police Department.
As part of your duties as a detective, do you on occasion review the reports of other officers?
I do.
And as well as, do you also review sworn complaints that are found in the reports?
I do.
And are those complaints, what do they typically rely on?
They rely upon the reports of the officers that respond to different complaints or incidents within the City of Fond du Lac. They also rely upon witness statements, videos, any other evidence that is brought to the attention of the officers or investigators as they're putting together their case.
Now, do you know an officer, Lindsay Lukey?
I do.
And have you reviewed reports of Officer Lukey in advance?
I have.
And do you find that Officer Lukey is accurate and truthful in the reports that she makes?
I do.
Now, do you know whether Officer Lukey investigated an incident at the Tuchita Correctional Institution that occurred on July 24th, 2024?
I do.
And how do you know that?
I reviewed the criminal complaint for that matter.
And was that a sworn complaint by your agency?
Yes.
Whose report did that rely upon?
Officer Lukey's.
Thank you. Can you tell us what, who's involved in the incident on July 24th, 2020?
Objection, Your Honor. Well, I know hearsay is admissible at preliminary hearings. I don't believe that there are any personal observations from Detective Milan involved, so she's in essence a conduit for hearsay and doesn't have any information of her own to benefit the court.
Your Honor, as Attorney Jolko pointed out, the court.
It sounds like he's saying she wasn't there, she didn't see it happen, she shouldn't be able to testify. See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. I don't know. See what they say.
Can rely upon hearsay. Detective Milan has testified that she has reviewed the sworn complaint in this matter that does rely upon Officer Lukey. Detective Milan further has testified that Officer Lukey is reliable or trustworthy in the reports of the investigations that she reports upon. I believe that would give it sufficient reliability for purposes of preliminary hearing today.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yes, thank you. Do you know who was identified as being involved in the incident that Officer Lukey reported on that occurred on July 24, 2024 at the Tuchita Correctional Institution?
Yes, it was an inmate at Tuchita Correctional Institute, which is located in the city of Fond du Lac, county of Fond du Lac, state of Wisconsin, by the name of Taylor Schabusiness.
All right, and are you familiar with Taylor Schabusiness at all?
Not from personal interactions. I have reviewed her photo spread through the Department of Corrections for inmates, which provides her physical appearance.
All right, do you find that reliable?
I do, I use it often.
And can you, did you see Ms. Schabusiness here in court at all today?
I did.
All right, when was that?
Earlier around 8:30 this morning.
All right, and do you see her or her represented in the courtroom today?
I did see her represented in the courtroom today.
All right, and do you see her now?
Yes, she's on the video screen to my right.
And what is she generally wearing? You just described.
Orange jumpsuit.
Your Honor, I'd ask the record to reflect Detective Mylon has identified the defendant in this matter.
Mr. Johnson.
At this rate, it's probably going to be more like 40.
Okay, no, way too long. Let's see how much you're spending. Download an app called Rocket Money.
Your Honor, no objection, subject to cross.
The record will sort of.
Detective Mylon, what did Officer Lupke report occurred at Tichita on July 24th of 2024 involving Ms. Schabusiness?
Taylor had indicated that there was a staple in her arm and a request was put in for a nurse to remove it. One of the correctional officers at Tichita, a female sergeant, was tasked with bringing Taylor down to the nurse's office so the nurse could remove that staple. While in the nurse's office, Taylor began giggling, and then a short time later, when the nurse was in the process of removing the staple with the tweezers, Taylor lunged initially at the nurse. Then the sergeant pushed the nurse out of the way and began to try to gain control of Taylor to get the nurse out of the way. And in the process of that, metal tray from the nurse's room was grabbed by Taylor. The correctional officer believes she was struck in the head by that, does not believe she was concussed, but then reported in the course of struggling to get Taylor under control, received bruising to her ribs and pain in her arm.
And did the, was it a sergeant, I believe you said?
A female sergeant, yes.
Thank you. Did the female sergeant, did she report having any pain from being hit in the head?
She reported having pain from the entire incident and did seek medical treatment for potential injuries.
And did the sergeant say whether she had consented to Ms. Schabusiness injuring her in that fashion?
She indicated she did not consent to that occurring.
Well, why would somebody say, yeah, sure, it's okay. Come on, just hit me. Just hit me. Just hit me. No, nobody's going to consent to that. Well, I don't know. Some people might, but nobody in the line of duty is going to consent to that. My moderator just sent me a video. We'll look at it in a minute.
No further questions. Mr. Johnson.
Thank you. Officer, Detective, did you review the video in this case?
I did not.
So you're solely basing your testimony on the criminal complaint today, is that correct?
That is correct.
So, just to review, the moment prior to the alleged lunge, there were 3 people in the room? Is that your understanding?
From the criminal complaint, that is my understanding.
Okay. And are you familiar with Tichita, whether they have any process for identifying or making sure they have the right patient in the room at any given moment?
I'm not overly familiar with their procedures, but I have responded there for numerous incidents, and most inmates do have a number or a system for identifying them.
You don't know if Ms. Schabusiness was wearing any such identifier that day, correct?
I don't know that.
Okay. So the moment prior to what you described as a lunge, where were the parties positioned, if you know?
I can't say other than the nurse was in the process of taking the staple out at the time, so within close enough proximity to do that.
Okay. And just to take it a moment further, Ms. Schabusiness allegedly lunged at the nurse?
Lunged or caused some motion in which the sergeant was concerned for the nurse's safety.
Okay. And then did the sergeant effectively intercept her, or did she actually make contact with the nurse, if you know?
I know the nurse was asked if she was hurt. I'm not sure if it was direct contact, incidental contact, but there was questions of whether the nurse was injured.
Now, the person described as the victim in the complaint, that would have been the guard, is that correct?
The female sergeant, yes.
Okay. And she indicated the number of injuries, including pain in her head, but short of a concussion, bruised ribs, and a hurt arm, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Did she attribute how her ribs had been bruised or her arm had been hurt?
It was not stated in the criminal complaint if she mentioned that.
Okay.
He was fired just 3 weeks before he was set to retire.
And now he's becoming an industry whistleblower.
But the head injury, I guess, would be related to a tray hitting her?
It was inferred that, yes.
You don't know anything about the specifics of that tray, correct?
I don't know any specifics other than the nursing trays that are used by nurses.
Okay. Was there
It's metal. It's got 4 wheels. It's got 2 little rods that come up down the side. And then it's got a little metal tray that sticks out on the top, and all the instruments are put on top of that little metal tray after they're sanitized. That's from what I've seen being in the doctor's office or the hospital having something done. I mean, I've had stitches removed from my arms. I went with my friend while she got stitches taken out of her leg after surgery. These are the trays that they use. That's just what I do.
Is there any exclamation or sound that Ms. Schabusiness made before she allegedly lunged?
The only thing that was discussed was like some giggling or some laughing that preceded that. The exact timing of that proceeding was not outlined in the criminal complaint.
Okay. So you identified Ms. Schabusiness as the defendant earlier today, correct?
Yes.
You have no way of identifying her other than the complaint as the person present in the room at the prison, though, correct? You didn't see any video, you weren't there?
I wasn't there, I didn't see that. The sergeant identified her and the nurse identified her from previous contacts.
Okay. Thank you, that's all I have.
Any redirect?
No, Your
Are you going to step down? Mr. Leach, any other witnesses or evidence?
No, Your
Mr. Jelka, any witnesses or evidence?
No.
All right. Mr. Leach?
Your Honor, without argument, the state asked for finding.
Mr. Jelka?
The judge would just briefly argue the identification. Detective Milan identified Ms. Schabusiness based on booking photos. Doesn't have any personal knowledge of who was present in the room at Tershita, didn't even see the video, so I would move to dismiss, the argument being the identification was inadequate at this time.
All right. The court will find probable cause that the felony was committed, likely committed by Ms. Schabusiness. The case will be followed as a
Judge Nails.
Mr. Leach, do you have any information?
I do, Your Honor. I'm providing a copy to Attorney Joka and to the court.
Mr. Jelka, subject for local tenure, local substitution, do you want to proceed with an arraignment?
Your Honor, that was my understanding for today. I would defer to Ms. Schabusiness if she still wishes to continue with that today.
Ms. Schabusiness, do you want to proceed to an arraignment today?
Coffee!
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
Your Honor, I have received the information. The charges appear to be identical to the criminal complaint. Would waive its formal reading and subject to 10 days to decide whether to substitute would enter not guilty pleas.
Not guilty, please enter. This matter will be scheduled moving. Anything else from the state?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Jelka, anything else?
No, thank you.
Okay, that's the end of that one. Okay. Okay, they're going over the attack again. This is her competency evaluation.
Simple. I only pay $10 a month for my internet connection. Fast, unlimited, anywhere.
Have you heard about Ryoko Pro?
State of Wisconsin versus Taylor Schabusiness, case number 24 CF 1048. Appearances.
Good morning, Your Honor. District Attorney Tony and ADA Krieger for the state.
Taylor Schabusiness is personally present. She's in custody currently with Attorney Curtis Jelka.
Are we in victim rights compliance?
We are, Your Honor.
We are set here for a preliminary hearing. Attorney Joka, what is the status?
Your Honor, I have met with Ms. Schabusiness. We're requesting under Wisconsin stats, section 971.14, that she be evaluated by a psychologist or psychiatrist.
And that's based on your personal observations?
Correct.
Is there any objection from state?
Not under these circumstances.
Well, I would note that the court has reviewed the criminal complaint. I would find there's probable cause for purposes of suspending the proceedings to allow for a competency evaluation to be done. We'll order that competency evaluation is done by the department and that we will hold a hearing upon its return. It's my understanding Ms. Schabusiness would like to be present. We'll have her present for all required hearings. Is there anything else from the state?
No, I believe the court indicated it found probable cause from the complaint.
I did.
Nothing additional, thank you.
Defense?
Nothing else, thank you.
All right. With that, we are adjourned.
See, they shackled her up. All these officers standing here had probably bring off-duty officers in here just to get her in court. And she was there 1 minute and 48 seconds. Well, 1 minute 39 seconds before they were done. That's like a waste of manpower to me. But they had said that she was available to appear in all of her trials. This is something from Vinnie Politan.
Performed sexual acts on his corpse and dismembered his, leaving his head in a bucket in the basement that was later found by his mother. Then how and why one human could treat another human that way. The more details you learn, the more shocking it all seems. This is the story of Shad and a woman named Taylor Schabusiness. Both are from the same part of Wisconsin in Green Bay. Both were just 24 years old. They were friends and were involved in a sexual relationship. On February 21st, 2022, Shad Taylor and her roommate bought some drugs. At one point, Taylor's roommate left, and Shad and Taylor went to his mother's house to the basement. That's where things took a very dark turn. Taylor strangled Shad to death, performed sexual acts on his corpse, and dismembered his body, leaving his head in a bucket in the basement that was later found by his mother. Then her behavior continued in court when she attacked her own attorney. What's the story of Taylor Schabusiness and all this bad behavior?
Everything about her is extremely scary.
Did you see that hand signal that she did? Watch.
Strangled Shad to death, performed sexual acts on his corpse, and dismembered his body, leaving his head in a bucket in the basement that was later found by his mother. Then her behavior continued in court when she attacked her own attorney. What's the story of Taylor Schabusiness and all this bad behavior?
Everything about her is extremely scary. All of her behavior and the looks inside the courtroom as well. Also, after she's taken into custody and interviewed by police, I mean, what she says, how she says it. We see very few cases like this. I want you to take a look.
Well, they found kind of disturbing stuff at the house there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of blood. Basically Shad's head. Yeah.
I'm terrible at explaining things, so let's see here. I didn't want him to die, actually. He's my buddy, but like,
Did you feel a need to try to help him? Stop choking him or get an ambulance? You didn't feel like to do that?
I don't know why. It happened so fast.
So then after you realized he was no longer completely dead, his face is purple, he said blood's going out of his mouth. What'd you do?
Clean him up a little bit. And then, I just played with him.
You said play with him, what do you mean?
Play with his like I put him up over the bed, and then
Was it correct?
it was
Did you,
even
what did you do with his hands?
I put it on.
So all of a sudden, the chain went around his neck. How come? I'm just trying to get it.
He likes it. I was gonna walk him like a dog.
Don't forget the backstory here. Her victim, Shad, was a friend of hers, and they had agreed to engage in some sexual conduct, and then all of this happens. So that brings me to my first question in this story, in this case, in this investigation. What fueled this attack?
She just flat out admitted to it. This is what I did. This is what I did. This is what I did.
Attack.
You can't stop this. I don't go slow. I might not.
What was it? What drove her to engage in this level of behavior? Got some great experts with us.
clinical and forensic psychologist, researcher, and expert on violent crime, and the author of The New Evil. Dr. Gary Brucato was with us. Also joining us, forensic psychologist, trial expert, witness, and columnist, Dr. Carol Lieberman. Thank you both for being here. Dr. Gary, I'll begin with you. Let's start with the question. What fueled this attack? What is it that gives you the motivation to do what she engaged in?
Well, I think one of the problems people have had looking at this case is that they think that someone really has to go into one category. They have a psychotic disorder, it's their personality, and they're a little sadistic, it's a sexual motivation, drugs, alcohol. I think it's a kind of a combination. My sense is that this is an individual who had a mixture of psychotic symptoms and some kind of aberrant personality, the kind of person who enjoyed sexual behaviors that were very violent and cruel, and then fueled by methamphetamine, sort of indulges in this over-the-top, highly disorganized kind of perversion that involves murder in this instance. And there are offenders in the past that have had that mixture. They're not common, but I would, for example, encourage the audience to read about the case of Albert Fish, who was a psychopathic individual who also had a psychotic disorder and engaged in many similar things, to the point of also putting a head on a can to drain it out, castration, that kind of evisceration. But he was both. And I think that's the best way to think about this person, is that they're a mixture of all of those things.
Dr. Carol Lieberman, I want you to take a listen to more of her police interview here. She's describing more of what she did to Shad.
How did you dismember his body?
Knives.
Was that?
Knives.
Knives? Just more than one knife? Or sure?
No. It was alright. Bread knife works good.
Bread knife?
A bread knife works good.
Really?
I had one of these. So yeah. I got lazy last night, so.
Even the demeanor there, Dr. Carol Lieberman, what are your thoughts here and your take on what's fueling this attack by Taylor Schabusiness?
Well, in addition to whatever diagnosis that she has, and she was diagnosed as PTSD and bipolar, but it could have been other things too, or a combination. But I think the most important thing is to look into her childhood, to look into her, who she was. This is a very unusual presentation. She's essentially admitting that she did this. It's not like she's trying to pretend that she was not guilty. And what's interesting is that in her life, first of all, her mother died when she was around 11 of cirrhosis. And then her father remarried really quickly. And when the woman who he married had children. So essentially, he was not paying any attention to her. He was not able to, to help her go through the grief. And then she went with her paternal grandparents. And then she came back after high school to her father. She missed her father. And soon after that, her father was put in prison for rape. Rape of a 13-year-old girl who presumably was one of his stepchildren. And so he was gone. So she was lost. She lost her mother. She lost her father. There was nobody to take care of her. And so I think, this crime obviously is extremely sexual. It's not that she just killed him, and cut him up. I mean, there was this, she castrated him. She played with him, as she said, sexually after he was dead. There's something the very predominantly sexual about it. So what I think it is that her father possibly sexually abused her. And I think she saw Shad, especially at that moment when she was, on drugs and so on, she saw Shad as her father. In other words, wanting to get back at the man who had raped her, because it was so incredibly brutal. She castrated, not only she put his head in the bucket, she put his penis in the bucket. I won't go into all the gruesome details if you don't want, but I mean, it's clearly, it's just very sexual. And that, I think, needed to be taken into consideration more. And, it's sad because they did have an expert witness psychologist who did say that she was not guilty. She should have fit not guilty by reason of insanity, and yet, of course, the state psychologist found her competent, first of all, and then they didn't find that she was not guilty by reason of insanity. And I think they just didn't look deep enough.
You mentioned some of those details. Here's Detective Philip Scanlon describing some of those details.
What other items were in the bucket?
There was remains, two different specific types of remains that I observed.
What kind?
There was a human head. There was genitalia in the bucket.
Let me stop you there. What do you mean genitalia?
What I would recognize as a penis and testicles.
And were they laying underneath the head?
They were visible after the head was removed, yes.
What else did you see?
I observed a black Miracle 3 kitchen blade knife that was removed. Kitchen knife. I observed a yellow pocket knife, I guess for best description, the pocket knife with a yellow handle. There was like a head of a razor, like a shaving razor blade, nail, Jolly Rancher, and there was a flesh material that the doctor just described as a flesh material.
It's an app that cancels subscriptions and
Okay, stop. Yes, Rocket Money cancels subscriptions.
Dr. Gary Bucato, is there any significance to the way she dismembered him and what she did with the remains?
Well, in my work with the forensic team at Boston College, we've examined crimes involving mutilation, this goes well beyond dismemberment. It's a full-blown mutilation. And we've also examined castration as an offense. And what's interesting is that most of that is done actually defensively by more organized people that are butchering the body to get rid of evidence. But you can see it in people that are very fueled by drugs or extremely psychotic and disorganized that are just hacking a person to pieces in an outrageous way. But I think that there's a very interesting point raised by Dr. Lieberman, which is that there may be a minimization of the role of abuse. Albert Fish, incidentally, who I mentioned earlier, also had been abused in childhood and developed a fixation on castration, partially as a way of kind of evening the score, I think. We found that in castration crimes, when women commit castration crimes, it is more often than not because they have been abused. And that is then projected onto some male individual who is castrated to level the playing field. So it is interesting to think about that butchering of the body as a way of kind of getting even for feeling turned into an object or destroyed by someone who may have abused you. But of course, it's impossible to say this. I think it's a very interesting speculation that Dr. Lieberman makes based on my experience. But I think we also have to think about the role.
See, I've heard several attorneys speak about this kind of action where they, like Lorena Bobbitt, this kind of activity. And I have also known several survivors of this type of action. I don't mean dismemberment. I meant the SA. And of all the people I've ever met that are survivors of SA, I have yet to meet anyone, thank the Lord, that would go to this extreme. What would cause, I can't understand the act of this happening to a person who, as a child, and then as an adult, take this kind of measure on a completely innocent person that had nothing to do with it when you were a child. I just don't understand. Now, if you're going to do this kind of act, okay, granted, you're going to go to prison for life. But Why wouldn't she have done this prior to her father having been arrested for the exact same thing that he did to her? For what he did to his 13-year-old stepdaughter. Why wouldn't she have done it to her father? It doesn't make sense. I've always thought you go after the person that caused you to hurt. You don't go after somebody that's totally innocent, because you don't go after Stephen because John hurt your feelings. You don't go beat Stephen up because John said you were fat, or John said your jeans made you look fat. You don't go beat Stephen up for it. That just doesn't make sense in my head. Now, it might make sense in somebody else's. Leave me a comment if you can understand why they would do that to somebody that's totally innocent of the crime.
Of the psychotic disorder and methamphetamine and the sheer chaotic disorganization that we saw there, it was just completely over the top.
Absolutely. Wow. You love something.
Murder, the death of her former son-in-law, Dan Markel.
Prosecutors say a bitter child custody battle was the motive for the murder-for-hire plot.
Now that Donna has turned into a defendant, what's next for the Adelson clan?
Now that the ship is points across the board here.
Now that Donna has turned into a defendant, what's next for the Adelson?
So much.
Guess their age.
I'm 38.
I'm 50.
I'm 68.
We're doing this face.
You just have to kill it. That's Taylor Schabusiness being interviewed after she killed someone that I don't know if she loved him, but she clearly liked him as a friend of hers, Shad Therion, and took his life, mutilated his body. Here she is, though, in the interview, trying to explain her actions to a certain extent. Take a listen.
I didn't mean for all this to happen, and I'm like, I know I. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's what happened.
Well, you know, it's needs a mom and a sister and a dad and family, and it's more of it being sorry, you know. You killed them.
You're gonna tell the sister sorry. Didn't mean for that to happen.
You didn't mean to kill them?
I
But you didn't try to help them?
No, I didn't. No, it works both ways. Like, I have no idea. Like,
You was gonna
gotta
die.
be telling him to change.
Right, you was gonna die, so.
I mean, I didn't, but at the same time, I woke up like, that's bad. I didn't know what to do.
I can't make heads or tails out of what she's saying there. I'm sorry, but I did it on purpose. What could I do? And I'm wondering, though, she did say I didn't mean for it to happen. I'm sorry. So I'm wondering, my next question tonight about Taylor Schabusiness, right? This point moving forward. Is recovery possible for Taylor Schabusiness? Can she somehow get more closer to being normal? I don't know if normal is the right word. I don't know what it is. I need my experts. Still with us, Dr. Gary Brucato and Dr. Carol Lieberman. Dr. Carol Lieberman, what are your thoughts? Can she recover from this and become, yes, I don't even know what the word is that I'm looking for here, but be someone who's more amenable to like complying with the rules of society, even if she's incarcerated?
Well, as a psychiatrist, I need to believe that everybody can become closer to normal, or lose some of their psychotic.
So he's wanting her to be reformed. I think that's the word he's trying to say. Rehabilitated. And she says she thinks it can happen. I mean, it's possible. I'm not saying it's not.
Or very psychiatrically troubling features. But, that interview, there was something really interesting about that, in that she was obsessed with Jeffrey Dahmer. And Jeffrey Dahmer, when he killed young men, it was because he wanted to keep he cut them up and eat them and all that, but he wanted to keep them with him, because his father had abandoned him, and he had that was kind of the point of that. And thinking back about how I was saying earlier, how she was lost, it's like things in her life, the rug kept being pulled out from under her. And so in a sense, perhaps she wanted, just like Jeffrey Dahmer, to I kill somebody, I loved him so much, or when I love something, I kill it. And it's perhaps also because she wants to keep it with her.
And there she is taking a selfie with Jeffrey Dahmer. Dr. Gary Brucato, I want to show you what happened. And this is after her arrest. She appears in court. She has a lawyer. And then this happens.
Stop it. Stop it.
Obviously, that's after the police interview, but pretty close in time. This is one of the first appearances, if not the first appearance. Dr. Gary Brucato, what are your thoughts about someone like Taylor Schabusiness being able to have some level of recovery to normalcy?
Well, I think it's a little tricky because you'd have to know what exactly the etiology of this was in order to get a sense of prognosis. If you have somebody with a persistent, severe mental illness and they're appropriately medicated and in some kind of treatment, there could be some improvement. If you have a person who is acting that way because they've used serious illicit substances, being off the substance can help. If the person has been abused in childhood or has attachment problems of the type that Dr. Lieberman was describing, and I have to say I was delighted to see that she anticipated precisely the thought I was going to make about Dahmer, that this may have been a kind of an attachment thing that went haywire. That's something that can improve in psychotherapy. The trouble is that it's impossible to say because she is such a soup of all of these different things at the same time that it's very difficult to tell what exactly is triggering any particular thing. For example,
so they don't even know what her triggers are. Why does she explode like that? I mean, they were sitting in court and her attorney was trying to say that, this is how he felt about her. He knew her from previous cases, and all of a sudden, when the judge is about to give a verdict, she just attacks her attorney. It doesn't make any sense.
That explosive behavior you just showed on the screen, I'd have to know what precipitated it. Did she view the person that she was attacking through a particular lens that was distorted? Was she hallucinating? Did she project onto him some feeling from someone else? Was she feeling trapped and self-protective? Was she still showing effects of some biological effects of drugs or mental illness? It's very difficult to tell. So I think the part of the trouble is we need the full picture before we can answer that. But I echo Dr. Lieberman that we must remain hopeful that any of us is capable of improvement with some kind of care.
Dr. Lieberman, I wanted to play for you because you mentioned her father. Her father did speak. Take a listen to what he had to say about his daughter.
Would you agree that your daughter has redeeming qualities to her? Can you tell me what they are?
I don't know, it's good. It's sad for me to sit up here, knowing what happened and stuff, and knowing my daughter the way, she was, and the way she still can be. It's just night and day. She was always a loving, caring person. She liked to have fun, liked to joke around a lot. She's not the monster that, she's being made out to be. That's for sure.
Dr. Lieberman, we have about 45 seconds here. What are your thoughts about Dad and what he had to say about Taylor?
It was all right, but it was really kind of like damning with faint praise, That's the best that he could say about her. But, just one other thing, I think we need to look at her neurologically. It's possible that she had some kind of traumatic brain injury, and that is accounting for these sort of, sudden acts of violence. I don't mean necessarily the killing, the murder, but I mean like how she attacked her attorney in court and so on. It's worth looking into whether there's some kind of a brain injury, particularly the frontal lobe.
Dr. Carol Lieberman, Dr. Gary Brucato, Could not do this show without you. Your insight is really incredible, and your experience obviously shows through all of this. Thank you both for helping us through this very, very difficult case. It's a tough one. Taylor Schabusiness is locked up now, but there will be, unfortunately, another Taylor Schabusiness somewhere down the road. I'm Vinnie Politan. We'll keep digging for answers as the investigation continues.
Okay. This is where she was accused of attacking a prison staff.
These glasses are not a toy. Nobody believed me at first, but now everybody wants a pair. My friends roasted me for buying miracle glasses online. They said I got scammed, but then I showed.
I basically just wanted to say that there's no excuse for what you've done. I don't care if it's drugs or upbringing, you know. We all go through hard times growing up, at least the majority of us have. You have the opportunity to change that. You have the opportunity to, you know, see that you have a problem. There's, you know, I've been in recovery a little over 3 years in AA. I drank for 41 years. I realized I had a problem. So there's just, basically to me, you took the easy way out. It's, you did the most cowardly, weakest things that you can do possible. You know, you meet a person in school, you say he's your friend, you become friends, become girlfriend, boyfriend, lovers, gain his trust. An innocent person that's very kind, would do anything for you. And I believe you used that and you had this plan and took your opportunity when you did. There's no excuse, you know, I don't see it no other way. To take advantage of someone's kindness like that, that's like the most irritating thing for me. You know, you get to know somebody and they trust you, and then you do that. You say, and then you say that you're a friend, you're his friend. You said that in the statements.
Now, is that the father of the boy, or is that, I thought her father was in prison. Victim families gives in, so it's either the father of the boy or it's an uncle or something.
It's like, man. But you know, I walked into a program and it's free. You know, you can go get help and it's free. All over the place there's help. And it doesn't cost a dime, you know. It's either, and the first thing they tell you in there, you know, you want to continue doing what you're doing. It's going to be jails, institution, or death. And you chose that path, and you chose the wrong path. They sit here talking about being rehabilitated. Is Shad's mother going to ever rehabilitate from this? No, but you can go to an institution, you can go to prison and try to be rehabilitated, but I don't see no reason why you'd have parole after the doctor had just mentioned once you have so much damage that it's irreversible. You know, so why don't make no sense to me even to have the option of parole to come back and to gain someone's trust like that again. You know, because that is like the lowest thing a person can do. You know what I mean? I just don't understand that. And the biggest thing is, you know, it, like I said, you know, the help is free and it's there. You chose not to take, you know, I'm sure you knew you had a problem, you know. You can't blame it on childhood. You know, there's help out there. And if you take the path to go get the help, you wouldn't be in this situation right now. None of us would be in this situation. But to take the cowardly path that you did and to make other people suffer because you were suffering. Name Taylor Schabusiness fits you well. And I'm not a praying man, but after Judge Walsh's sentences today, I will pray that you meet the same fate as your idealistic Jeffrey Dahmer. So have a
The next speaker will be a statutory crime victim, so we'd ask the media to be advised of that, Judge.
Okay. I just wanted. All right. They're indicating they are going to make sure that they're not doing.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, if you could just, sir, before you start, if you could just state your name for the record.
Michael Therian.
Okay, go ahead.
Taylor, I just wanted to say that I forgive you for what you done to my son. And yeah, you made a bad choice, and now you have to live with it. But you know, I'm gonna miss Shad. He was a wonderful child too. Growing up, just mild mannered and just happy, and I know you made a bad choice, and like I said, I forgive you, and I'm gonna ask the judge if he can, you know, if she can see the streets again sometime, you know. It may not be soon, but I believe everybody makes bad choices, and maybe not to this scale, but I think there's a lot of hope for you. I think, you know, you can make use of your time and be a better person and do great things yet, you know, so it does no good for me to hate you, you know. I know you got a heart, I know you got a mind, and I wish you no harm, and I hope things go well for you. That's all I got to say.
Okay, thank you.
Michael Therian. That was out of left field. The dad, after the uncle called her all kinds of names, gets
Totally
up there and says, I'd like her to see the light of day at some point, and forgives her. Wow.
Wow, that's something you don't usually hear, but every once in a while we do hear victims come in and say it like that. I mean, the uncle, though, completely different demeanor from him. Great story from him that he was able to get over his addictions, but it was after a long amount of time. I can't believe the judge allowed that applause.
Yeah, that was a bit much. But wow, okay, let's get a break in here, and then
Okay, here is the defense attorney speaking to the court.
Drinking warm water before bed improves eyesight almost overnight. Thousands of people are already doing this.
All right, joining me this morning is the defense attorney for Taylor Schabusiness, Christopher Freilich. Thank you so much, Chris, for being with me. I want to first begin with your reaction to not one but two unanimous verdicts this week against your client, one for the murder of Shad Therian and then also denying and rejecting the fact that she suffered from a mental disease or defect at the time.
Yes, good morning. Obviously, we presented our best case. We had defense experts, forensic psychologist provide some testimony, but at the end of the day, the jury made their decision, entered their verdict that found her not to have a mental disease or mental defect.
What was your client's reaction to the verdicts?
I think she was really, I don't know if she necessarily understood what was going on. I think she was suffering from some mental health issues, some impairment, and the plan is to go and talk with her today to, fully discuss what happened at trial.
I do know that you had a competency hearing right before the trial started. You were hoping to show the jury that she was not competent to stand trial. Were you able to effectively communicate with her through the process this week?
Yes, I was. I was able to talk with her. As you saw during the trial, she didn't write notes, although she was able to interact with me. I think that she's a young lady that has many problems, many mental health challenges, and that's difficult.
I do know that when the judge wanted to inquire of her right to testify or to waive her right to testify, you asked the judge to include an extra inquiry about her being pressured to or not to testify. Was that just out of precaution, or was there some other reason as to why you wanted to have that included?
No, that's kind of a standard practice to make sure that the defendant, the client, doesn't feel that they're pressured to make a decision either way, that it's their choice. So I felt that that might be a good colloquy for the judge to have with Ms. Schabusiness, and the judge did that.
Now, viewers, we were
sorted through, and we're looking forward to the sentencing hearing in September to address some of these issues with the court for the court's consideration in determining what kind of sentence she is to receive.
Indeed, and of course, we were able to see which your expert.
She looks like she's about to explode again, if you ask me.
Did address some of her reactions inside the courtroom, laughing at times, smirking, staring at the camera, and in previous hearings even attacked her former defense attorney. Were you ever worried of that, first of all? And what do you make of her reactions and odd behavior inside the courtroom?
Some of those behaviors I thought were bizarre and odd. No, I was never concerned about any issues with regards to my safety. I think that as a lawyer, if you have a good rapport with your client, communicate with your client, and the client knows that you're doing everything you possibly can, then you build trust. So that's kind of the perspective that I took in the case. I did watch the video where she had that apparent incident with prior counsel, but it wasn't a consideration in my case. In my representation, I wasn't worried.
Yeah, I was in there. That's so interesting. Last night, when the verdict was read, she was flanked by two deputies who did not take their eyes off of her just in case she made a movement. She was not handcuffed. And you mentioned some of the video that you've seen. We witnessed a video of her what looked like she was making like a gun or pulling a trigger on a gun inside the courtroom when the judge was speaking. Did you notice that at all? That's an interesting question. During the trial, I didn't notice it. I know that I would look over periodically at my client frequently, but I did not see that. But later on, I did see that on the video. It's hard to decipher what that was, who that was intended for. So that's my comment on that. This had to have been a difficult case for you. It's probably one of the most graphic trials that we've covered at Court TV with all the gory details. As an attorney, how did you prepare in representing her in that way and for your own mental health?
Yes, well, I've been a lawyer for 33 years. I've handled homicide trials in Sheboygan County and have other matters, handled lots of trials, addressing many different legal issues. So I started right out of the gate with attacking some of those problems that I saw that I outlined in my motions. And I essentially worked on the case every single day.
It looks like she's
I got
laughing.
my materials organized.
Not sure if you saw the news, but Fox News is claiming President Trump is declining in the polls. President Trump responded and says Fox News polls
into binders, read all of the reports, organized the reports, got experts involved. I know that at least for a motion hearing, we had a pharmacologist and conferred with him because of the fact that methamphetamine use was prevalent in this case. Also conferred and consulted with a forensic psychologist because I knew that mental health issues were very prevalent in this case, and then just had numerous conferences and meetings with my client and prepared for trial. And that's what we did. We put on our best case. We did the best job we could. We vigorously fought for justice and for her rights and advanced our legal position at trial.
You did mention the pharmacologist, James O'Donnell, I believe is who you're referring to.
Okay, this one is about.
Okay. First verdict reads as follows. We, the jury, find the defendant, Taylor Denise Schabusiness, guilty of first-degree intentional homicide as charged in count 1 of the information, dated this date, July 26th, 2023, signed by the foreperson. The second verdict reads as follows. We, the jury, find the defendant, Taylor Denise Schabusiness, guilty of mutilating a corpse as charged in count 2 of the information, dated this date, July 26th, 2023, signed by the foreperson. The next verdict reads, we, the jury, find the defendant, Taylor Denise Schabusiness, guilty of third-degree sexual assault as charged in count 3 of the information, dated this date, 26th day of July, 2023, signed by the foreperson. The verdicts appear to be in order.
So 20 years until retirement.
At this rate, it's probably going to be more like 40.
Okay, no, way too long. Let's see how much you're spending.
Sir, if you could just, if you could stay standing and turn and face her, and as best you can, raise your right hand.
You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in the matter now before the court, so help you God. I do. Please have a seat and state your name for the record.
Arturo Coronado.
Okay, Mr. Freilich, the witness is yours.
Thank you. Mr. Coronado, good morning.
Good morning.
Sir, how old are you?
51.
What is your date of birth?
5/24/72.
Are you currently married, sir?
I am not.
You are living in Green Bay, correct?
Yeah, you know that, Chris.
Okay. And your daughter is Taylor Denise Schabusiness, is that fair?
She is.
Who is her mother?
Marla.
Okay. And you were married to Marla for a while, sir?
Of course.
How many years was it?
We were married about 10, together about 15, 16.
Did you live together and was...
Does it actually render someone...
Oh, I clicked the wrong button. Sorry.
...of their conduct or unable to conform their conduct with the law, which is the standard?
Okay.
Last one.
It is crime time here on Closing Arguments. Let's bring in tonight's guests. Joining me, former Special Agent and Supervisor for the Department of Homeland Security, Dr. Jason Piccolo. Jason has served in law enforcement for over 20 years and was a U.S. Border Patrol agent. He's a veteran of Operation Iraqi Freedom and has worked in human smuggling, international narcotics trafficking, is also the author of Out of the Shadows and the host of the Protectors podcast. Also with us, retired DEA Special Agent Ted Golden. Ted is a former Memphis police officer. He has 34 years of experience in law enforcement. He was with the Drug Enforcement Administration for 28 years. He's a trainer at the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Center for Nonviolent Social Change, and he is a consultant with the DeKalb County, Georgia Juvenile Court. Welcome to you both. We're going to begin tonight with a grisly murder in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Take a look.
Around 3:25 a.m. on February 23rd, police responded to a call from a woman saying she had found her son's severed head in a bucket in the basement of her Green Bay, Wisconsin home. Officers were dispatched to the home where they discovered the gruesome scene: a severed head in a bucket with a disembodied male organ and knives, blood on a nearby mattress, and other body parts, including a torso in bags. The last person to see the victim was 24-year-old Taylor Schabusiness. The criminal complaint states Schabusiness told police she and the victim were smoking methamphetamine, having sex involving strangulation in chains when she, quote, went crazy and choked him to death. Schabusiness told police she then performed sex acts on the body before dismembering it. The complaint says Schabusiness told police they were going to have fun trying to find all the organs. Taylor Schabusiness is now charged with first-degree intentional homicide, mutilating a corpse, and third-degree sexual assault. She faces life in prison if convicted.
I warned you. This is unspeakable. Dr. Jason Piccolo, first thing, investigating a case and a crime scene like this.
I can't imagine. You know, my master's is in forensic science, and I can't imagine trying to put this crime scene together. You know, the best thing I can do is get a confession or get a statement from her, and then tying everything together. But trying to put the crime scene together, and man, I just keep thinking about that mother coming down and finding her son like that. It really is like a house of horrors.
Ted Golden, the other part of this story is the drugs. Methamphetamine. Is that possible that someone on methamphetamine could go that crazy and do what is alleged here?
Well, let me introduce you to a subject I talk about frequently. It's called polydrug use. People who use multiple drugs either at the same time or one after the other. It sounds like she had an adverse reaction from whatever she was mixing together, and it messed up her mind, and she went off into this, delirious attitude about what to do with somebody and how to dismember her body and all the crazy things she could do. It just sounds like polydrug use to me, and it's unfortunate because these things happen more than folk realize. And just in this case, they were able to find the body and, come to the conclusion that she did it.
Yeah, the other part of this, Dr. Jason Piccolo, it's unusual. I don't know if I've covered a story or a case, an investigation where it is a woman dismembering a man. We've seen the other way too many times. That's the other part of this that is very unusual.
Well,
Okay, so that's what we know. She wanted to claim that she was mentally unstable. She wanted the courts to let her not be bound. She attacked everybody in her path, and she wanted to be the victim's father. Said that he hopes she sees daylight at some point. I mean, he's entitled to his own opinion. Don't get me wrong. But I don't know. But then again, a part of me, now I'm probably way off in left field over here. But part of me says, biblically, judge not lest ye be judged. Okay? And then I'm the type of person that if I'm driving down the highway and I'm in the left lane and I'm doing the speed limit or maybe just a mile or two faster, if people come up behind me that I know are definitely speeding and they go around me on the right, when I actually all I'm doing is trying to get around the vehicle in front of me without getting in his kill zone or getting them in my kill zone or whatever. I want to get around that vehicle safely so that I can get back over into the right lane and let traffic flow in the left lane. Well, when people pass me on the right, I think, man, I'm the idiot because they're passing me on the right. Then I have to tell myself, but you want to be over in that lane. You just can't because you'd have to hit your brakes or you'd have to speed up and go above the speed limit to get around them. So, you know, I feel like the other drivers get mad at me for driving the speed limit. And I feel like, you know, other drivers get mad at me when it's time to merge because, you know, failure to follow the rules on your part does not constitute an emergency on my part, so I don't have to let you in. Okay, so I feel like they get mad at me for that, so a lot of times I do let them in. But at the same time, when I'm in the school line at my son's high school, and you've got all these students that are new drivers, okay? They've had their driver's license a year, maybe 2 years, you know, some of them. But the way the parking lot is, you got cars parked, you know, going this way and you drive in between. The proper method in my head is if you come out of the lane, you go around and you go down and you get at the end of the line that's coming out. You don't force yourself in and make somebody stop who may have another commitment but had to, for some reason, come pick a child up from school. And I get mad at those because I don't think the school has taught them the proper parking lot etiquette for exiting a parking lot. I've had drivers where I'm sitting at the stop sign getting ready to pull out into the road and I want to make a left turn right there at the high school. I've had drivers come out of the parking lot and cut me off right in front of me and make a right turn and nearly take the front end of my vehicle off. And then when I call the school and tell the school about it, nothing's done. Nothing gets done. They should not have a driver's license if that's the way they're going to drive. I'm serious. But I don't want to make other drivers mad. I feel like all the drivers, even when you get, like, when you're coming off of 96 and you're getting ready to go on 54-400, well, that exit right there, that's a 30-mile-an-hour exit because it's a round curve exit right there. And then you have to go on to 54-400. Okay, so that says 30 mile an hour. At what point do you get down to 30 mile an hour? Do you do 65 all the way up until you hit the rumble strips? And then all of a sudden you slam it down to 30? Or actually you only slam it down to 40 because you know you can make that curve at 40 as long as your foot's on the brake to keep you from going off of the cliff on the side, because the drivers behind you are going to try to push you to go 50. So if I was the parent, if heaven forbid, something like this were to happen to one of my kids, I would be mad. There'd be no holding me back. But biblically, I'm supposed to forgive. I'm not going to say I'd go to the extent of going into the courtroom and asking the judge to put full leniency on them and completely forgive them, because Jesus would have forgave them and said, they know not what they do. But I would forgive and let somebody else permit the punishment, because I could not ask a judge to punish somebody to the full extent of the law when I know I myself am guilty of having made mistakes or made poor choices. I can't say give them the biggest sentence, because there's times when I should have gotten sentenced for something. I'm sure for something, but I just didn't get caught. Of course, I never have unalived anybody. I haven't. So anyway, thank you for being here. Now that I've gone off on my rant. I may not be here tomorrow. I might and I might not, because I might have to go back to Hutchinson, because my friend's son has an MRI appointment and her husband has another appointment. He has to do guard. He has to do physical therapy at the guard at the Army base. And he has to do things with the sergeants and the master sergeants and first master, with the paperwork and stuff over his injury from his shoulder. So I may have to go to Hutchinson tomorrow. So if that's the case, then I won't be here. If I don't have to go to Hutchinson, or if I'm able to get back early enough, then I'll be here. So if I'm not here, you'll understand I'm still in Hutchinson, and I'll be back on Monday. So with that being said, do something nice for someone, even if it's just be the reason they smile. Thank you for being here and search for crime. And if you hear of crime stories that you want me to cover, leave a comment. I read all the comments. So leave a comment. And go over to www.getlocker.com and start purchasing your Christmas presents. Somebody loves that antique glass or figurines or something. If you're big into Shakespeare, I've got a bronze William Shakespeare statue on eBay. Go over there and look. All right. See you Monday or tomorrow.